The Serpent's Spell. In the small, secluded town of Ravenswood, nestled deep within the ancient woods, there stood an old manor. Once grand and imposing, the Ravenswood Manor now lay in decay, its windows shattered, and its walls covered in creeping ivy. The townspeople often spoke of the manor in hushed tones, for it was said to be cursed a place of dark magic and unspeakable horrors. One crisp autumn evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest, a letter arrived at the doorstep of Evelyn Harper. The envelope was made of thick, yellowed parchment, sealed with a crimson wax emblem depicting a coiled serpent. Intrigued and unnerved, Evelyn broke the seal and unfolded the letter. The words, written in an elegant, flowing script, sent chills down her spine. Dear Miss Harper, you are cordially invited to the Ravenswood Manor on the eve of All Hallows for an exclusive gathering. Your presence is requested to witness the unveiling of secrets long buried within the manor's walls. Yours sincerely, Alistair Ravenswood. Evelyn's heart pounded as she read and reread the letter. The Ravenswood Manor had been abandoned for as long as she could remember, and she had never heard of anyone named Alistair Ravenswood. Yet, something about the letter beckoned her, an inexplicable pull that she could not ignore. The townsfolk had always been wary of the manor, spinning tales of ghostly apparitions and strange occurrences. But Evelyn, with her insatiable curiosity and a penchant for adventure, decided that she would accept the mysterious invitation. She gathered her courage, donned a heavy cloak, and set off towards the manor as the last light of day faded away. The path to Ravenswood Manor was treacherous, winding through dense, gnarled trees that seemed to whisper secrets of their own. The air grew colder and the darkness deeper as Evelyn made her way through the forest. She could hear the distant hoot of an owl and the rustle of leaves underfoot, but otherwise the night was eerily silent. Finally, she emerged from the woods to find herself standing before the manor's imposing gates. The iron bars were cold and rough to the touch, and as she pushed them open, they let out a mournful creak that echoed through the night. Evelyn hesitated for a moment, but the pull of the letter was too strong to resist. She stepped onto the overgrown path leading to the manor and approached the front door. The door itself was massive, made of dark oak, and intricately carved with scenes of serpents entwined in a deadly dance. With a deep breath, Evelyn lifted the heavy knocker and let it fall. The sound reverberated through the manor, and moments later, the door creaked open. Standing in the doorway was a tall, slender man with piercing green eyes and hair as black as midnight. He wore a tailored suit that seemed out of place in the dilapidated surroundings, and his presence was both commanding and unsettling. Miss Harper, he said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Welcome to Ravenswood Manor. I am Alistair Ravenswood. Evelyn swallowed hard and nodded. Thank you for the invitation, Mr. Ravenswood. Please, come inside, Alistair said, stepping aside to let her in. As she crossed the threshold, she felt a strange, tingling sensation, as if the very air was charged with magic. The interior of the manor was a stark contrast to its decaying exterior. Though the walls were cracked and the furniture covered in dust, there was an undeniable grandeur to the place. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their dim light casting eerie shadows, and the scent of old books and ancient wood filled the air. This way, Alistair said, leading her down a long corridor lined with portraits of stern-faced ancestors. Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that the eyes in the portraits were following her every move. Finally, they reached a grand ballroom. The room was vast, with a high ceiling and tall windows that let in the pale moonlight. In the center of the room stood a large, ornate mirror framed in gold. Alistair gestured towards it. This, he said, is the Mirror of Serpents. It holds many secrets, and tonight I shall reveal them to you. Evelyn's curiosity was piqued, but a sense of dread gnawed at her. What kind of secrets? She asked. Alistair's eyes gleamed with a strange light. The kind that can change your life forever. As Alistair spoke, Evelyn found herself drawn to the mirror. The glass was dark and murky, and as she peered into it, she saw faint shapes swirling within. Alistair moved to stand beside her, his presence both comforting and intimidating. "This mirror has been in my family for generations," he explained. "It is said to be enchanted, capable of showing glimpses of the past, present, and future. But it also holds a darker power, a connection to the spirit world." Evelyn's breath caught in her throat. She had heard of enchanted objects before, but she had never encountered one herself. "What kind of connection?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Alistair's expression grew serious. "The mirror can open a doorway between our world and the realm of spirits. It allows us to communicate with those who have passed on, to seek their wisdom and guidance. But it is not without its dangers. The spirits can be unpredictable." A shiver ran down Evelyn's spine. "Why have you invited me here?" "Because," Alistair said, "I believe you have a gift. A sensitivity to the supernatural. I sensed it the moment you arrived. With your help, I hope to uncover the mysteries that have plagued my family for centuries." Evelyn was both terrified and exhilarated. She had always felt a connection to the unseen, a sixth sense that she couldn't explain. But the idea of facing spirits and uncovering dark secrets was daunting. Still, her curiosity outweighed her fear. "What do I need to do?" she asked, steeling herself. Alistair placed a hand on her shoulder, his touch cold and firm. "You must look into the mirror and focus your thoughts. Open your mind to the spirits and let them guide you. I will be here to assist you." Evelyn nodded, taking a deep breath. She stepped closer to the mirror and stared into its depths. The shapes within began to swirl faster, forming patterns that seemed almost hypnotic. She felt a strange sensation, as if her consciousness was being pulled into the mirror. "Relax," Alistair's voice echoed in her mind. "Let go of your fears and open yourself to the spirits." Evelyn closed her eyes and did as he instructed. She felt a rush of energy, and when she opened her eyes again, she was no longer in the ballroom. Evelyn found herself standing in a place that defied description. The air was thick and heavy, filled with a mist that obscured everything beyond a few feet. Strange, ethereal lights flickered in the distance, casting an eerie glow. She could hear whispers all around her, voices speaking in a language she didn't understand. "Where am I?" she called out, her voice sounding strange in this otherworldly place. "You are in the spirit realm," a voice replied. Evelyn turned to see a figure emerging from the mist. It was a woman, tall and graceful, with long, flowing hair and eyes that seemed to glow with an inner light. "Who are you?" Evelyn asked, her fear giving way to curiosity. "I am Serafina," the woman said. "I am a guardian of this realm, a guide for those who seek the truth." Evelyn felt a sense of calm wash over her. "What is this place?" "This is a place between worlds," Serafina explained. "A realm where the spirits dwell, waiting to be called upon by those with a gift. You have entered this realm through the mirror of serpents, and now you must seek the answers you desire." Evelyn glanced around, the whispers growing louder. "How do I find what I'm looking for?" "Follow the whispers," Serafina said. "They will lead you to the spirits who hold the knowledge you seek. But be warned, not all spirits are benevolent. Some may seek to deceive you, to lead you astray." Evelyn nodded, her resolve strengthening. "Thank you, Serafina." "Good luck, Evelyn Harper," Serafina said, her form beginning to fade into the mist. "May you find the answers you seek." Evelyn took a deep breath and began to follow the whispers. The mist swirled around her, and she could feel the presence of countless spirits, watching her, guiding her. The path was winding and treacherous, but she pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the Ravenswood Manor. As Evelyn walked through the mist, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. She followed them, her heart pounding with anticipation and fear. Finally, she reached a clearing where a figure stood, shrouded in shadows. "Who are you?" Evelyn called out, her voice trembling. The figure stepped forward, revealing a man dressed in old-fashioned clothing, his face pale and gaunt. "I am William Ravenswood," he said, his voice a low, mournful whisper. "I was the first to fall under the Serpent's spell." Evelyn's eyes widened. "The Serpent's spell? What do you mean?" William's eyes were filled with sorrow. "The mirror is cursed. It was brought to our family by a dark sorcerer who sought to control the spirits. He cast a spell upon it, binding the spirits to the mirror and using their power for his own gain. My family has been haunted by this curse ever since." Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine. How can the curse be broken? "There is a ritual," William said. "A way to free the spirits and break the Serpent's spell. But it is dangerous. The sorcerer's magic is strong, and he will do everything in his power to stop you." Evelyn's heart raced. "What must I do?" William's expression grew grave. "You must gather the artifacts needed for the ritual. They are hidden within the manor, guarded by the spirits of my ancestors. Once you have them, you must perform the ritual in the presence of the mirror. Only then can the curse be broken." Evelyn nodded, determination filling her. "I will do it. I will break the curse." William's eyes softened. "Thank you, Evelyn. You are our only hope." As the spirit of William Ravenswood faded into the mist, Evelyn felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had to find the artifacts and perform the ritual. The fate of the Ravenswood family and perhaps her own depended on it. Evelyn opened her eyes to find herself back in the grand ballroom, the mirror looming before her. Alistair stood by her side, his expression unreadable. "Did you find the answers you sought?" he asked. Evelyn nodded. "I did. I know what I have to do." Alistair's eyes glinted with interest. "And what is that?" "I need to gather the artifacts required for a ritual to break the Serpent's spell," Evelyn said. "They are hidden within the manor." Alistair's face grew serious. "Very well. I will help you in any way I can." Together, they began to search the manor. The task was daunting. The manor was vast, and the artifacts could be anywhere. But Evelyn was determined. She started in the library, a cavernous room filled with dusty tomes and ancient scrolls. She searched every shelf, every drawer, but found nothing. Next, they moved to the study, a dark, oppressive room with heavy curtains and a large desk covered in papers. As they searched, Evelyn felt a strange presence, as if someone or something was watching them. She pushed the feeling aside and continued her search. But again, they found nothing. Hours passed, and frustration began to set in. They had searched nearly every room on the ground floor with no luck. Evelyn was starting to lose hope when they entered the drawing room, a cozy space with a large fireplace and plush armchairs. As she rummaged through a cabinet, her fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. She pulled it out to reveal a small, ornate box, intricately carved with serpents. Her heart skipped a beat. This had to be one of the artifacts. "I found something," she called to Alistair. He hurried over, his eyes widening as he saw the box. "That is one of the artifacts," he confirmed. "We are one step closer." Evelyn felt a surge of hope. They still had a long way to go, but finding the first artifact had renewed her determination. They continued their search, moving to the upper floors of the manor. The upper floors of the manor were even more decrepit than the lower ones. The floorboards creaked underfoot, and the walls were covered in peeling wallpaper and cobwebs. As they climbed the grand staircase, Evelyn couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. They reached the second floor, and began to search the bedrooms. The first few were empty, save for old furniture and tattered curtains. But when they entered the largest bedroom, Evelyn felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The room was dominated by a massive four-poster bed, its canopy draped with heavy, dusty curtains. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the temperature seemed to drop several degrees. As Evelyn approached the bed, she heard a faint whisper. "Leave this place." She froze, her heart pounding. "Did you hear that?" she whispered to Alistair. He nodded, his face pale. "This room is haunted. Be careful." Evelyn steeled herself and continued to search the room. She checked the wardrobe, the dresser, and the knit stand, but found nothing. As she turned to leave, she noticed a small, ornate chest at the foot of the bed. She approached it cautiously and opened the lid. Inside was a delicate silver pendant, shaped like a serpent with emerald eyes. Evelyn's hand trembled as she picked it up. "This must be another artifact," she said. As she spoke, the whispering grew louder, more insistent. "Leave this place or suffer the consequences." Evelyn's heart raced. She could feel the presence of the spirit growing stronger, its anger palpable. "We need to get out of here," she said to Alistair. They hurried out of the room, the door slamming shut behind them. Evelyn clutched the pendant tightly, her mind racing. They had found 2 artifacts, but the manor was filled with restless spirits. Each step forward seemed to bring them closer to danger. With 2 artifacts in hand, Evelyn and Alistair continued their search. They moved to the attic, a dark and dusty space filled with old trunks and forgotten treasures. As they sifted through the clutter, Evelyn noticed something strange, a draft of cold air coming from behind a large wardrobe. "Help me move this," she said to Alistair. Together, they pushed the heavy wardrobe aside, revealing a hidden door. Evelyn's heart pounded with excitement and fear. She reached for the handle and pulled the door open, revealing a narrow, winding staircase leading down into darkness. "Should we go down?" Alistair asked, his voice tinged with apprehension. Evelyn nodded. "We have to. The artifacts could be down there." They descended the staircase, the air growing colder and damper with each step. The walls were lined with stone, and the passage was lit only by the faint glow of their lantern. As they reached the bottom, they found themselves in a small, underground chamber. The room was filled with ancient relics and dusty tomes. In the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested a large, ornate dagger. The hilt was shaped like a serpent, and the blade glinted in the dim light. "This must be another artifact," Evelyn said, her voice echoing in the chamber. As she reached for the dagger, she felt a sudden surge of energy. The air grew thick with a malevolent presence, and the temperature dropped even further. A figure materialized before them, a tall, shadowy form with glowing red eyes. "Who dares disturb my rest?" the figure hissed, its voice a low, menacing growl. Evelyn's heart raced. "We mean no harm. We are trying to break the serpent's spell." The figure's eyes narrowed. "You seek to break the curse. You must prove your worth." Evelyn swallowed hard. "How do we do that?" The figure raised a bony hand and pointed to the dagger. "Take the dagger and perform the ritual. Only then will you be able to break the curse." Evelyn nodded, her hand trembling as she picked up the dagger. The figure faded into the shadows, leaving them alone in the chamber. "We have 3 artifacts," Alistair said. "We just need 1 more." Evelyn felt a sense of urgency. They were so close, but the danger was growing with each step. She hoped they would find the final artifact soon, and finally break the curse that had plagued the Ravenswood family for generations. With 3 artifacts in their possession, Evelyn and Alistair pressed on, determined to find the final piece of the puzzle. They returned to the ground floor, searching every room they had yet to explore. Time was running out, and the spirits were growing more restless. As they entered the dining room, Evelyn felt a strange sense of déjà vu. The room was grand and opulent, with a long table set for a feast that had long since rotted away. She scanned the room, her eyes falling on a large, ornate cabinet in the corner. "Check the cabinet," she said to Alistair. He opened the cabinet doors, revealing shelves lined with dusty china and silverware. At the back of the top shelf, he found a small, intricately carved box. He pulled it down and opened it, revealing a delicate, jeweled brooch in the shape of a serpent. "This must be the final artifact," Alistair said, his voice filled with relief. Evelyn nodded, her heart pounding with anticipation. "We have everything we need. Now we just need to perform the ritual." With all four artifacts in hand, Evelyn and Alistair returned to the grand ballroom, where the mirror of serpents awaited. The air was thick with tension, and the room seemed to grow darker as they approached the mirror. "Are you ready?" Alistair asked, his voice steady but filled with apprehension. Evelyn nodded, her determination unwavering. "Let's do this." They placed the artifacts on a table in front of the mirror, the ornate box, the silver pendant, the dagger, and the jewel-lead brooch. Evelyn took a deep breath and began to recite the incantation William had told her. As she spoke the ancient words, the mirror began to glow with an eerie, green light. The air around them seemed to crackle with energy, and the room grew colder. The shapes within the mirror started to swirl faster, forming a vortex that seemed to pull at their very souls. "Focus," Alistair urged. "We must complete the ritual." Evelyn continued to recite the incantation, her voice growing stronger with each word. The artifacts began to glow, and a powerful force seemed to emanate from them. The spirits within the mirror grew more agitated, their whispers turning to screams. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light filled the room, and the mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces. Evelyn and Alistair were thrown back, landing hard on the floor. As they struggled to their feet, they saw that the room was filled with spirits, their forms flickering and shifting. One spirit stepped forward, a figure Evelyn recognized as William Ravenswood. "You have done it," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "The curse is broken." Evelyn felt a wave of relief wash over her. "What happens now?" "The spirits are free," William said. "We can finally rest in peace." "Thank you, Evelyn. You have saved us all." As the spirits began to fade, Evelyn felt a sense of peace and accomplishment. The manor, once a place of darkness and despair, was now filled with light and hope. With the curse broken and the spirits at rest, Ravenswood Manor began to transform. The dark, oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the manor seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The walls, once cracked and decayed, began to mend, and the air grew warmer. Evelyn and Alistair stood in the grand ballroom, surveying the changes. "We did it," Evelyn said, a smile spreading across her face. Alistair nodded, his eyes filled with admiration. "You were incredible, Evelyn. I couldn't have done it without you." Evelyn blushed, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. "Thank you, Alistair. I'm just glad it's over." As they left the ballroom, they were greeted by the townspeople who had gathered outside the manor. Word had spread of their brave quest, and they were met with cheers and applause. Evelyn felt a sense of belonging and gratitude. She had faced her fears and uncovered the secrets of Ravenswood Manor, and in doing so, she had found a place in the hearts of the townspeople. With the curse lifted, Ravenswood Manor began a new chapter. Alistair decided to restore the manor to its former glory, and with the help of the townspeople, they began the long process of renovation. The manor, once a place of fear and darkness, would now become a beacon of hope and community. Evelyn decided to stay in Ravenswood, her heart now firmly rooted in the town she had come to love. She and Alistair grew closer, their bond strengthened by the trials they had faced together. They often spoke of the spirits and the mysteries they had uncovered, their shared experience forging a deep connection. The mirror of serpents was shattered, but its legacy remained. Evelyn continued to study the supernatural, her gift now honed and respected. She became a protector of the town, ensuring that the dark forces that had once plagued Ravenswood would never return. Years passed, and Ravenswood Manor stood as a testament to the courage and determination of those who had faced the serpent's spell. The town thrived, its people united by the shared history of their ancestors and the bravery of Evelyn Harper. Evelyn often walked the halls of the manor, her mind filled with memories of the past. She had faced unimaginable horrors and uncovered ancient secrets, but she had emerged stronger and wiser. The manor, once a place of fear, was now her home a place of light and hope. As she stood before the place where the mirror once hung, Evelyn felt a sense of peace. The serpent's spell was broken, and the spirits were at rest. Ravenswood Manor and the town it watched over were safe. And so, the legacy of Ravenswood lived on, a story of bravery, magic, and the unbreakable bond between the living and the dead. Evelyn Harper, the girl who had once feared the unknown, had become a guardian of the supernatural, her name forever etched in the annals of Ravenswood history. The end.